Hello, friends. So, today we are going to study another theory. I'm Dr. Niaz Ahmed, and I am from Gen Next Edu Learners. So, let's start the theory. And before starting the theory, I am giving you some situations, and the situation has four answers, and you have to select one answer from that. So, suppose you are on an airplane that suddenly hits extremely bad turbulence and begins rocking from side to side. What do you do? So just A. Continue to read your book or magazine or watch the movie trying to pay little attention to the turbulence. B. Become vigilant for an emergency, carefully monitoring the stewardesses and reading the emergency instruction card. C. A little of both A and B. D. Not sure, never noticed. So just you have to write down the correct answer A, B, C, or D. Any one correct answer in the comment box. Okay, let's see another situation. So, you are in a meeting when a colleague takes credit for work that you have done. So, what do you do? So, A, immediately and publicly confront the colleague over the ownership of your work. B, after the meeting, take the colleague aside and tell her that you would appreciate in the future that she credit you when speaking of your work. C, nothing. It is not a good idea to embarrass colleagues in the public. D. After the colleague speaks publicly, thank her for referring your work and give the group more specific detail about what you were trying to accomplish. So just write down the answer or note down the answer of this situation. Now, next, you are a college student who had hoped to get an A in a course that was important for your future career aspirations. You have just found out that you got a C minus for the midterm. What do you do? Sketch out a specific plan for ways to improve your grade and resolve to follow through. Decide you do not have what it takes to make it in that career. Tell yourself it really doesn't matter how much you do in the course. Concentrate instead on other classes where your grades are higher. Go see the professor and try to talk her or him into giving you a better grade. So just write down the answer of this situation. So let's see the first answer here. The answer most appropriate answer is anything but D. That answer reflect the lack of awareness of your habitual response under stress. So if your answer is A, you will be getting 10 points. Continue to read your book or magazine or watch the movie, trying to pay little attention to the turbulence. If your answer is B, you are also getting 10 points. Becoming vigilant for an emergency, carefully monitoring the stewardesses and reading the emergency instructions. If your answer is C, then also you're getting 10 points, a little of both A and B, a little bit of vigilant, a little bit of you are just paying little attention to the turbulence and maintaining yourself. And if your answer is D, you're getting 0 point because you're not sure, not never noticed. Okay, let's see the credit stealing colleague. The most emotionally intelligent answer is D. So if your answer is A, you are getting 0 point. Immediately and publicly confront the colleague over the ownership of your work. This is not emotionally intelligent answer. If your answer is B, you are getting 5 points. After the meeting, take the colleague aside and tell her that you would appreciate in the future that she credits you when speaking about your work. This is very lenient answer. If your answer is C, that nothing, it is not a good idea to embarrass a colleague in public, you're getting 0 point because you're not know how to claim your rights. Now if your answer is D, you're getting 10 points. After the colleague speaks publicly, thank her for referring your work and give the group more specific detail about what you were trying to accomplish. So in the midterm, you're getting C minus. The most emotionally intelligent answer is A. That is, you're getting 10 points. Sketch out a specific plan for ways to improve your grade and resolve to follow through. If your answer is B, you're getting 0 point. Decide you do not have what it takes to make it in that career. So you're using your defense mechanism. If our answer is C, you're getting 5 point. Tell yourself it is really doesn't matter how much you do in the course. Concentrate instead of other classes where your grades are higher. If your answer is D, you're getting 0 points. Go see the professor and try to talk her into giving you a better grades. Okay, so there are different situations, and you have to just deal the situation according to the context. And here, your emotional intelligence play an important role. So let's see the quotation of Daniel Goleman, that we are being judged by the new yardstick, not just how smart we are or by our training and expertise, but also how well we handle ourselves and each other. So here he's saying about the emotional intelligence. So our topic for today is emotional intelligence. I'm Dr. Niaz Ahmed, assistant professor, and today we are going to see this topic in detail. Emotional intelligence theory. So, if you're talking about emotional intelligence, then first question is what is emotions and what are emotions? You can say. So, in this emojis also you can see that different emotions are there. Through the facial expression only you can come to know these emotions. So these emotions are sad, mad, glad, and scared. Okay, so these are the emotions, and these emotions we can know with the help of facial expression of the person. So these emotion you can read through the faces, and this is the Japanese female facial expression, and through the face only you can know that where she is happy and how she is showing fear and anxious. So there are different emotions, and that we can read through faces. So what is emotion then? If you want to just describe the emotion, then what is the emotion? So it can be anger, sadness, fear, enjoyment, love, surprised, disgust, or shame. So if you see the Latin word, how it is derived from, that is derived from the Latin word "amovere," and which means to stir up or to excite. So this emotions come when there is a stir up in the body, or when there is excitement in the body, or physiological process. So emotions can thus be understood as a agitated or excited state of our mind and body. So if there is agitation or excited state of our mind and body, then emotions will come out, and we can see the emotion in a person. So if you see the definition of this emotion, the emotion is a complex affective experience that involves diffuse physiological changes and can be expressed overly in characteristics behavior pattern. So this is a physiological changes in our body, and this will be depicted or expressed through our behavior pattern, and that is called emotion. So this is a complex affective experience, and this is due to the physiological changes in our body, and this will come through behavioral pattern of a person. So this definition is given by Charles Morris in 1949. So emotions are internal conscious state of a person, and emotions are private experience. That person is only know what kind of experience he is having. So this is a observable behavior, and it is associated with emotions. So this emotion is observable behavior. Other person can observe your emotions. For example, here you can see here there are three domains are there. So we will see here how these domains are activated. So when a child sees or perceives a bull coming toward him, so by seeing the bull, his cognitive domain will be active, that is cognition. He experience an affective experience also in the form of arousal of accompanied emotion of fear. Then he will be feared with the bull, that is the activation of his affective domain, and consequently tries to run away. So that is the psychomotor aspects of one's behavior. Therefore to perceive that the bull is coming toward him, all the three domains become active. So when we are saying this emotions, so we can say that all the three domains are active when we experience emotions. Now, emotional intelligence, to whom we can call as a emotional intelligence people, or what is emotional intelligence? So IQ, we have already know. IQ is intelligent quotient, is greatest predictor of success in any walk of life, academic, social, vocational, or professional. So earlier it was this IQ which the people or the experts feel that it is the greatest predictor of success in any walk of life, either it is academic, social, vocational, or professional. So IQ scores are often used for selection, classification, and promotion of the student also, and for the employees also in the earlier ages. Then a lot of research has been done in 90s and onwards. They challenge the dominance of intelligence and its major IQ. So they have challenged that it is not only the IQ which is the predictor of success in any walk of life like academic, social, or vocational. So they have replaced this concept with emotional intelligence. They have said that not, it is not the IQ, but it is emotional intelligence that is helpful in predicting the success of any individual in future. And it measures like emotional quotient like IQ. There is a emotional quotient EQ, which is a greater predictor of success of any person. So EQ may be the greater predictor of success than his IQ. So it is not the IQ that is a greater predictor, but it is EQ which is having the greater predictor of the success of any individual in future or in life. So emotional intelligence is a term created by two researchers, Savalov and Mayer in 1990s, and it is popularized by Dan Goleman. And he has popularized this concept emotional intelligence in his book, which is named as emotional intelligence itself. So the popularized version of emotional intelligence is due to Dan Goleman. So emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions, as well as it is also ability to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of other. So through emotional intelligence, you are not managing your own emotions, but also you are just recognizing, understanding, and influencing the emotions of others. Means you are just managing your own emotion as well as you are managing the emotions of others. So emotional intelligence constitute both management of your own emotion as well as management of the emotions of others. So here normally a lot of time we have high pressure situations that requires us to manage our emotions skillfully, and these situation may include giving and receiving feedback. If we want to give and receive the feedback, if you want to meet the tight deadlines, if you're dealing with challenging relationships, not having enough resources with us, dealing with change, or dealing with setbacks and failure. So these are the situations, and that is a high pressure situations. And if we want to manage this situation, we require emotional intelligence. Okay, because we have to manage the emotions of the person. Okay, so let us see the definition of emotional intelligence. So the ability to perceive emotions, to access and generate emotions so as to assess thoughts, to understand emotions and emotional meaning, and to reflectively regulate emotions in a way that promotes emotional and intellectual growth is called emotional intelligence. It is given by Solve and Mayers. So the capacity for recognizing our own feelings and those of others, for motivating ourselves, and for managing emotion well in ourselves and in our relationship is given by Daniel Goleman in 1998. So these are the definitions of emotional intelligence. So if the people are having emotional intelligence or the intelligence based on emotion, they will be less depressed, they will be healthier, they will be more enjoyable, they will have better relationships, and important this emotional intelligence will predict their success in future. So these are the characteristics you'll have in the people who have intelligence based on their emotion, or the people who have greater emotional intelligence. Okay, so now let's go into detail. So there are five major competencies in emotional intelligence. So there are basic two competence in emotional intelligence: the personal competence and the social competence. The personal competence have five competencies, like the personal competence have three competencies, like self awareness, self regulation, and motivation. The social competence have two competencies, like empathy and social skills. So overall five competencies are there in emotional intelligence, and this is categorized into two broader competence: personal competence and social competence. So let's see first one, that is personal competence. In the first one is self awareness. Self awareness is nothing but you're knowing your own emotions. So knowing one's internal states, preferences, resources, and intuitions. So this is called self awareness. So first let's see the important quotes from the well known personality in different area. So what they say about this self awareness. So this Chuck Wolf, he says that if you understand your own feelings, you get a really great handle on how you are going to interact and perform with others. So one of the first starting point is what is going on inside of me. You have to aware of that. Okay, so this much importance this self awareness has. So for every competencies, we will see what is the saying of the great people. So personal competence, and here we are seeing the self awareness means know your emotions. So here it is nothing but how you feel and can accurately assess your own emotional states. So this is the skill you are going to develop with the help of this self awareness. It is nothing but how you are recognizing a feeling as it happens, and it is the ability to monitor feeling from moment to moment. Every moment you're going to monitor your feeling, and this will help you to have self awareness. Means you are just tracking your emotions. So self awareness includes emotional self awareness. These are the components of self awareness. Emotional self awareness. So emotional self awareness is nothing but you are reading your own emotions and recognizing their impact. So you are just reading your own emotions, and you are just recognizing what is the impact of this emotion on your behavior. The second component is accurate self assessment. So you are just trying to understand your own strength and weakness. So you are understanding your own strength and weakness. So that much awareness you're going to get with the help of this accurate self assessment. Then self confidence, a sound sense of one's self worth and capabilities. So this will help you to develop self confidence if you are aware about your self worth and capabilities. Okay, so you can see here these are the three components of self awareness: emotional self awareness, then accurate self assessment, and self confidence. So these three will develop your self awareness. If you have these three things in you, means you are self aware. Now second competencies is personal sorry self regulation or self management. So now you're aware about yourself, your self awareness about your emotions. Now what you have to do, you have to just regulate those emotions. So self regulation or self management is nothing but you are going to manage your emotions. So managing one's internal states, impulses, and resources is called self regulation or self management. So let's see this great people saying on this self management. So Christine Casper, she is communication, motivation, and management in the business field. So what she is saying about this, that if we are in a heightened state of agitation or anger, we cannot make good decisions, we cannot reason well. So that is why we should have self regulation or self management in us. So self regulation or self management, how we are managing our own emotions. So it is nothing but building on the understanding that you gained with self awareness. So whatever self information you got from self awareness, information about your emotions, you are going to build on that, and you are just controlling your emotions so that they don't control you. So you're trying to control those emotions, and this is also called self control. Okay, so the other word of self regulation or self management is self control. So let's see the component of this self regulation. So that is, the first one is emotional self control. Here you are trying to keep the disruptive emotions and impulse under control. So whatever behavior that is going to have a disruptive nature, you're going to control that. Then trustworthiness, you're displaying honesty and integrity through your behavior. Then conscientiousness, dependably and responsibility in fulfilling obligation, whatever obligations you have, you're fulfilling those obligations. Then innovations, being open to new ideas, approaches and new informations. Adaptability, flexibility in adapting to changing situations. So these are the components of self regulation. These are going to contribute in self regulation, means you're having emotional self control in you, where you're just managing the descriptive emotions and impulses. You are trustworthy. Yes, you are showing trustworthiness, where you are displaying honesty and integrity. Conscientiousness, where you are just fulfilling all your obligations. Innovations, you are very open to new ideas, approaches and new information. Adaptability, you are just very flexible in adapting to a changing situations. If you are having all these things, mean you are self regulating your emotions. Okay, so now let's see the third one, that is motivation. Motivation is nothing but you are motivating yourself. So emotional tendencies that guide or facilitate in reaching goal. So here Pavlov Fry, co-director. Okay, let's see what he's saying about this motivation. So high performers are those who are able to see with some clarity to what degree they are responsible for a setback, and to what degree it may be circumstances or other people. Okay, so this is the quotation on motivation. So motivation is emotional tendencies that guide or facilitate in reaching goals. So it is how you motivate yourself to achieve the goals, and it recognizes that emotions affect your performance. So you are going to recognize what are the emotions that is affecting your performance. Okay, and you're trying to overcome those emotions. So when a setback strikes, resist asking what is wrong with me. Instead, you're going to ask what can I fix. So instead of asking what wrong with me, you are going to just wasting a lot of time in finding what is wrong in you. Just ask what and how you can fix this. That is a more important thing in motivation. So let us see the components of this motivation. So first is achievement drive. So it is the drive to improve performance to meet the inner standard of excellence. The second is commitment, holding the institutions or the group's vision and goal. Optimism, seeing the upside of in the events, and initiative, readiness to act and seize opportunities. So if you are having these kind of things, then you are a motivated person. So if you have achievement drive, you are always try to improve your performance to meet the standard. If you're showing commitment to the vision and goals of the organization you're working for, and if you are optimistic, seeing the upside of the events, and if you are taking initiatives, if you are always ready to act and seize opportunities, then you are having motivation competence in you. So these are the three competencies in personal competence. Let's see the social competence here. The first one is empathy. So you are recognizing and understanding others people's emotions. So it includes social awareness, awareness of other feelings, needs and concern. So let's see the saying here, Daryl Grigg. So if people will stop for a moment and put themselves in other person's shoes, it will help them modify their own behavior. It will help them develop relationships with those people. So as a person, you have to just put yourself in another person's shoes. It will modify your behavior and it will help in developing better relationships with those people. So empathy here, it is expanding your awareness to include the emotions of those people around you. So it is not only that you are aware about your emotions, you try to have awareness about the emotions of other people. So you are being able to empathize with others, and you are being aware of how the environment that you are working is in affects them. Okay, so you are sensing others emotion, understanding their perspectives and taking active interest in their concerns. So you're not only concerned about your emotions, you are also showing concerns about other emotions also. So you are sensing their emotions, you are understanding their perspectives, and you are taking active interest in their concerns. So this empathy, recognizing and understanding the people's emotion, includes or have different components like understanding others. So here you are sensing others feeling and perspectives. Then developing others, you are boosting others abilities through feedback and guidance. You have service orientation, means anticipating, recognizing, and meeting others needs. You're forcing diversity, cultivating opportunities through diverse people. You have political awareness, reading the political and social currents in the institution. So these all are the components of empathy. So if you are understanding others, if you are developing others, if you have service orientation, if you have forcing diversity, political awareness, means you are showing empathy to others. The last competence is social competence, that comes under social skills that come under social competence, and it is nothing but it is managing relationships or managing others emotions. So it includes relationship management, adeptness at inducing desirable response in others. So let's see the quotation here. Daniel Goleman is saying that the people who will become the leaders, the people who will become the stars performers, are one who have the strength in the key emotional intelligence abilities. So let's see here the social competence, competence, the social skills. Here the managing relationships or others' emotions. So here it is the proficiency in managing relationships and building networks. It is also an ability to find common ground and build rapport. Okay, so this is social skills. So it has the components like leadership, guiding, inspiring, and motivating. In influence, using a range of effective tactics for persuasion, communication, sending clear and convincing message. Change catalyst, initiating, prompting, promoting, or managing change. Collaboration and cooperation, working with others toward shared goals. Building bonds, nurturing instrumental relationships. Conflict management, negotiating and resolving disagreements. Team capabilities, creating synergy in working towards group goals. So these are the components of social skills. So if you have a leadership skills, if you're having influence on your teams, if you're having a good and clear communication, if you are change catalyst, which shows that you are promoting and managing change, if you are working in a collaboration and cooperation, if you tries to build bonds, if you are just dealing with good conflict management, if you have a team capabilities, these all will contributes toward developing social skills. So this will improve your social competence. So these all five competencies are required for good emotional intelligence. So let's see the education implication of this emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence and the success. So it helps individual to achieve success. It is the best predictor of success in life. So emotional intelligence people are more likely to succeed in everything they undertake in their life. The Goldman has also claimed that 20% of the success in life is due to IQ, and 80% of the success of life is due to EQ. So this is the relationship between intelligence and success. It shows that how much emotional intelligence is important for the person. So implications to the learner. So it will just improve the academic performance as well as behavior of the person. So a set of skills that help learner to be successful in school, at work, and in the relationships. So this will develop the set of skills that will help the learners to be successful in schools, at work, and in relationships. And here more likely to have robust self-esteem and be better placed to cope with disappointments and setbacks. So if the person is having good emotional intelligence, he will be more likely to have robust self-esteem. So become effective learners, because these kind of person will be more motivated, they manage their emotions and help others to do the same. They understand that negative feelings can be valuable since they provide personal insight into thoughts, feelings, and motivation to learn. and there are various components in the emotional intelligence that is quite essential and significant in his life. Okay, let's see the implications for school and teachers. So the bullying, this disciplinary problem, violence, drugs, abuse are reduced in the schools with the high EQ. If we develop the high EQ, these problems can be reduced. So self-esteem, happiness, and success in life are laid in childhood and adolescence. So this will help in develop these kind of things. If, as a school, we are working on emotional intelligence. So without taking IQ into consideration, we can teach the students to improve in any individual some crucial emotional competencies, and thus making their life more healthy, enjoyable, and successful in the coming days. So to promote optimism and positive thinking and to create resilient and confident learner, create classroom climate. So this will help in creating these kind of classroom climate. Okay, so these are the implications for school and teachers. Thank you very much. Hope you have understood this topic. So if you just like the video, just don't forget to click the like button and subscribe the channel. Thank you very much.